Hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond Just Fine. Today I thought we'd talk about giving ourselves permission, which might seem like a strange thing. In my last newsletter, I had this topic. On a side note, I have a e-newsletter called Mindful Moments, which is sent out twice a month on the 1st and the 15th of each month. There's insights, various tools and techniques for different topics such as anxiety, feeling stuck, imposter syndrome. So if you're interested in receiving that, head over to my website. Details are in the description. Click on the news tab and you can put your name down on the mailing list. So anyway, like I was saying, my last newsletter was about giving ourselves permission, which wasn't a topic I initially thought about doing today. It wasn't until I attended this networking event the other day where somebody had said that they'd been pushing themselves too much. But it wasn't until one of their friends said, I think you need to take a break, that they actually did. And they said it's not that they didn't realize that they were pushing themselves and that they needed to rest. It was as if they were waiting for that permission from somebody to say, you know what, you just perhaps need to take some time out here. And I think that's the thing. We go through life easily given permission to other people. Someone might come up to us and say, oh, I'm just working so much, I'm so stressed. Have a day off. Oh, I'm so tired. Take a nap. But when it comes to ourselves, that permission slip just seems to disappear. Now, like I said in our last episode, by the time we're 35, 95% of our thoughts, feelings, behaviours are coming from a preset template that's stored in our subconscious. And that's been set there since when we were little. Up to the age of about 7, we are just absorbing everything around us. Our brains are in a brainwave state known as theta, or theta as the Americans pronounce it. And it's a state associated with hypnosis and meditation. It's a sponge-like state, and we're taking on everything that we hear, everything that we're being told. And not just that, as children, we're still learning about ourselves and the world. So anything that's said to us, we take it as truth. I remember as a child being told that if I swallowed an apple pip, I'd have apple trees growing out of my ears. Now, as seemingly ridiculous as that seems, I didn't know any better as a kid, and I believed it. I was terrified that if I swallowed an apple pip, I was going to wake up in the morning with these trees growing out of my ears. Now, the thing is that if I believed that as a child, there are so many other things that I took on board as truths, which I then carried on in believing into adulthood. Now, the thing is that we're not always aware of these beliefs that we have, these stories that we tell ourselves of why we can't do things, why we can't be a certain way or do a certain thing. We're not always aware that they're there until they become the blocks for achieving the life that we want to live and being the person that we want to be. Or we're doing this inner work and we start exploring where these stories have come from. Now, like with the apple pips, I was actually able to find the evidence that that wasn't an actual truth when I accidentally swallowed an apple pip once, and I was a bit worried, a bit of a restless night I had that night, but I didn't wake up with apple trees in my ears. So that was a huge relief, and it just completely then destroyed that belief that I had of the apple trees coming out of my ears if I swallowed an apple pip. Now, that was an easy one to reprogram, an easy story to rewrite. But there's so many others that we carry that aren't quite so easy to get to reprogram. But that's because they're so imprinted in our brain. Not just that, we go through life with this thing called confirmation bias. And what that is that those beliefs that we hold on to, our brain searches for the evidence to support those beliefs. Our brain has this thing called the reticular activating system, which filters reality, looking for evidence for the beliefs that we carry. So all the things that then happen to us just reaffirms those beliefs that we had. So like I said before, I had this belief as a child that I was a shy kid. I didn't have confidence. And then as I grew up, my reticular activating system then searched for all the evidence to reaffirm that, giving me that confirmation bias that that was then the truth. But when I started doing this inner work, I started finding the evidence to contradict it. When I looked back, there was things that I did as a kid that showed that I was confident. There certainly weren't things that a shy kid would do. So that then helped me be able to reprogram that belief that I had, rewrite that story that I'd been telling myself after all of those years. But even though doing all of that, I still felt there was like a hurdle in the way of kind of stopping me from accepting the fact that at my core, I was confident. I could be confident. And I think that was permission. I had this voice of authority in my head telling me that I was a certain way. And that was the thing that was then I had to overcome. It felt kind of wrong. I knew that I could be confident. I knew that there was all these things that I could do, that I was capable of doing, but it went against all of the stuff that I'd been told, all the things that I'd heard as a kid. I had to give myself permission. I had to allow myself to be able to do these things, to accept the fact that I could. Now, no one was going to come along and do that. It was something I had to do myself. So I incorporated that as part of the work that I was doing. So when I was doing my positive affirmations every morning, I would say to myself, I'm confident. I allow myself to be confident. I give myself permission to be confident. And that then helped me be able to accept that. I gave myself that permission. I gave myself that acceptance. I told myself it was okay. I wasn't going to be told off. I wasn't going to be stuck on the naughty step if I believed that. It was okay to believe that I could be, because I was. And I think that's the thing sometimes, is this having that permission. And like I said, it's not necessarily someone's going to come up and give us that. It's about looking in the mirror and giving it to ourselves. Whether or not it's allowing ourselves to be a certain way, or whether or not it's just allowing ourselves to have a break, to have a rest. I mean, society tells us that to be successful means you've got to work really hard and you've got to be stressed. That's a sign of success. So we push ourselves because of that expectation. And it's about just giving ourselves that permission that in actual fact, it's okay to take that 5 minutes out. It's okay to stop and read your book if you want to. It's okay to not push yourself to the point of burnout. Giving ourselves that permission, allowing ourselves to accept that despite what we may have believed growing up, despite all those stories, all of those things that we heard, it's actually okay. Giving ourselves that permission. So it might just even be physically writing yourself a permission slip. Get a piece of paper. I give myself permission to. What's the first thing that comes in your head? Write it down. I give myself permission to. How would your life look with that permission? Maybe allowing yourself to have that, giving yourself that permission to be the person you want to be, start that new business, allow yourself to be confident, whatever it might be. Give yourself that time to take that break. It might just be the thing that changes everything. It might just be that last hurdle that gets you to where you want to be. So just have a think about that. Are there any areas in life that maybe you're holding yourself back because you're perhaps waiting for someone to say it's okay to do so? And then give yourself that permission to do so. And if you need any help, then please reach out. My details are in the description. Until the next time, take care of yourself, and remember, you are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to be the person that you want to be and live the life that you want to live. See you soon.